In this video, we're going to go over how to make coffee out of your Lavazza machine. First step is having a clean counter to work with. Now that we've got a clean counter to work with, here's our Lavazza machine. So we went with the Lavazza machine that I've best researched and went with because I wanted something that would just pull a great shot. I know many people like the Nespresso machines. The only thing I didn't really like about it is that it seemed like Nespresso was more so focused on having all the different flavor pods. Right here you can see where right now the machine plugged in has this orange light on for the capsules. What that means is that you want to take this apart and then go ahead and empty out the capsules. What I like to do is run over to the sink really quickly and I'll pour this out because there's a little bit of leftover coffee or coffee water. Once that's done, I'll go in and chuck out the pods into the trash and then put it back into the machine. Once we're back in the machine, we are ready to go. So apologies that this is a little bit messy here, but you can see now that the color changes. Over on the left hand side, you'll see all the shot-based applications, and then on the right hand side, you'll see what drinks you can make using the frother cup that comes with the system. Right here, you can also see that there's an extra slot if you want to set your the landing for whatever cup or mug that you use. I have a shot glass here, for example, and it'll pull a double shot into this to the top. So here we're going to go ahead and get into the process. So here's the machine. You can see there's a tank in the back here. You can pull it off to fill it with water, or what my wife and I do is just pull off the top and we have our kettle and I'll just pour the water into there. It usually requires filling maybe once every other day or so. It just really depends on what kind of coffee we're pulling from here. I'm pretty simple, usually 1 or 2 shots per day, so that could just be 1 capsule, and it doesn't require a lot of water for myself. My wife does like to use the coffee function in here, so that's part of the reason why we went with this machine, is that the machine, while it does pull espresso shots, it also has a function to pull out coffee depending on the pods that you use. This is the pod that we normally use. It's the Intenso Gusto. They're all Lavazza pods. We really like the Lavazza coffee, and for a packaged coffee or for a coffee brand, it pulls a very good shot for us. You pull this back here, you'll see that there's a slotted entry for the capsule. Once the water's filled up, then you'll go ahead and get started here. So you can see that it's plugged in right now. What we're going to go ahead and do here is pull up the settings on the machine and we can start brewing our first beverage here. I am going to go ahead and do a couple of different beverages in this case, just to showcase what we can do with the Lavazza machine. Okay, so now what I'm going to go ahead and do, you can see over here on the right hand side, I've got my shot glass and my pod. Here's the Lavazza mug that it comes with. You'll see that there's a couple of labels here for macchiato, cappuccino, latte. When you plug this into the machine, then the lights switch over to the mug-based settings. So you can see over here on the left hand side, what's lit up right now are the single lungo or the coffee, and that's if you're just brewing it straight down into a shot glass or your coffee into your coffee mug. There's also a button there that you'll see which is for a double shot. Essentially, if you have a pod where it's measured out for a double shot, you can go ahead and use that. You can also use it for the blue capsules, but typically we usually get the double shot. From here, you can see I plugged it into the machine, the mug, and now the lights are lit up on the right hand side. What's neat about this is that it comes with a frother. You can see the little frothing circle there. It magnetically hooks up and that's what gets it spinning. so that we can froth up the milk. So we'll go ahead here and add our milk to the macchiato line. So I went ahead and dropped in just a small amount of milk here. Once we've got that done, what we're doing is going ahead and putting the top of the mug in. That puts the frother in. And I like to point it away from the handle. That way I can put it in straight into the machine. Okay, so once it's in, you can see that it flips over. I'm going to go ahead and choose my setting for the double shot for the puck that we've got, and then choose the cappuccino button. Or actually, I believe it was the macchiato button. So I've got the macchiato button. It'll start to spin, and this is when I realized a mistake. You have to make sure to put your pods in so that we're actually using it. So you'll see that I end up stopping this and restarting this. So we'll pick up here in a second. So you actually see right here, I decided that let's go ahead and go with the shot first. So emptied out my milk, and then I decided, okay, we're gonna go ahead and get the shot pulled here. So we'll go ahead and put the shot there, and here's a use of that tray that you can move. So you can move it up, and I put it directly under. This just makes sure that there's not as much splashing when it's coming directly in. So in this case, I have the pod in, and then I went ahead and pushed the ×2 button to pull a double shot, and then I'll go ahead and click on the espresso button. Okay, so I went ahead and just clicked on it, and you can see this angle here. You can see how from down below it looks like the shot's coming through that nozzle there, and you can see how there's that magnetic piece that spins the frother. And so shots pulling, I just noticed right at the end there, it starts to pull back a little bit and almost looks like it's spilling, but luckily no drops. And you can see how this fills right up to the top there. So just perfect shot without it spilling. And how beautiful does that look for a shot? So now that we've got this shot, I'll go ahead and set it aside I'll use it in a different beverage, but look at that shot, a little spillage there, but we are ready to move on to the next drink. So for this next drink, we move the tray back down, and this time we're going to make sure that we've got the pod in, we've got the correct settings, and we're going to go ahead and make ourselves that macchiato. So here's our mug again, rinsed it out, and you can see that it's a Lavazza branded mug here. You'll see the settings for latte, cappuccino, or macchiato. And I'm going to go ahead and go with the macchiato option here. Maybe we can speed this up a little bit. So pointing again here that we're filling it up to the macchiato line. Very small amount of milk for macchiato. And I think that's why, one, I like this machine because it comes with this mug and it kind of just tells you exactly what to do. Look, this isn't something, I'm not going to a coffee shop here. I just want a quick macchiato here. I'm not, if anything, I'm pretty basic, right? I love getting a coffee from a coffee shop, but when I'm at home, being a work from home individual, it just makes sense to be able to have some machine that's almost at the top level that requires the least amount of work for me to enjoy a drink, right? I don't think frothing my own milk or using a machine, using separate machines to do everything is really the best benefit for me. But in my case, what I want is something that's quick, right? I want to take maybe 5 minutes of my day to get myself a cappuccino or a macchiato. If I want a cappuccino or macchiato, you have to think that on average, it probably takes anywhere from like 5 to 10 minutes if you have everything set up. I used to work at a coffee shop as a barista, and I used to have to pull my own shots, but I also had to get the shop ready. So, not being at a shop, you have to think, do I want to spend all the time doing all these mundane tasks for just one cappuccino? Now, if I wanted to go buy a cappuccino, I would go to the store and just get a cappuccino. But at home, where there's not any, really great coffee shops around here. What I'll do is come in here and I just want to go ahead and make my coffee as quickly as possible. So you can actually see here, I messed up again. And hopefully I've got this angle here for you that shows you what it looks like getting the pod in there. So you can kind of see here, I might pull up here and you can see it's slotted to fit this capsule. It fits right in. And then you just go ahead and pull this handle down. Two things that handle does: it locks it into place and it pierces the holes in so water can go through and extrude the shot. So I'm going to go ahead and tap my macchiato button here after I do my ×2, because I do want that double shot. And then you can see that it starts to froth here. Listen for the sounds. Personally, I'd say, for what it's doing, it froths the milk really nice. It introduces some steam into it as well. So the machine itself, it's heating the water for the shot, but when you're using this mug, it's also steaming up some of the water to introduce the foam into the shot. And any cappuccino, macchiato, any of these specialty drinks, you do want some of that foam and that milk or dairy alternative or dairy that you use to have some froth to it. So that's really one of the benefits of this machine that I really like, is being able to make one of those drinks instead of having to pull out the coffee pot that you saw earlier. I can just go ahead and use just these sections here, and now you can see the shot is being extruded and it's coming in. It almost looks kind of dreamy here, where with the clear glass you can kind of see the shot kind of being layered into the drink. This will wrap up here in just about a second or so, and once it's wrapped up, you'll see that the machine is all good to go. And then you can just pull it out. And what I typically like to do, so at this point, now that the shot's all pulled and everything, what I like to do is take it and transfer it into a different mug. That mug right there is rather large. So once it's done, you just pull it out. I'll pull out one of the mugs that we have in our collection here. I think in this one I went ahead and chose my Hubby Mug, just because it's a good fit for this beverage. Typically I like to go with like a smaller mug because I want my beverage to not sit at halfway in the mug like this one does. But over here, I'll just go ahead and pop the top off here. Usually take that right over to the sink, not making many messes here. And then you can see I'll just come in here. I'm probably rinsing it off in the sink, and then I'll come back over here. And I like to kind of pour almost quick in a way where the beverage comes through and then the foam sits right at the top. So in my Hubby Mug, I've got my macchiato here. You can see no latte art, unless you want to call it obscure latte art, or what's the word? Abstract. It's abstract latte art. And I think what I also may have done in this clip here is show you what it looks like when you release it. So you release it and that pod just goes straight down, and that's what goes into that container there. So hopefully you got a good idea of how the Lavazza machine works as far as pulling shots and making beverages. I have a follow-up video that I'll have here that goes over the descaling process and just generally how to clean the machine. Obviously, this isn't fresh out the box, brand new, so there's a little bit of cleaning that I'll show you here with my machine. hopefully you enjoyed. Let me know if you have any other questions. If you've got any comments or feedback, feel free to leave it. Like the video, subscribe, and hopefully I can share more with you.